This is Into the Dead. We're on Nintendo Switch, so we've got a story, we've got side stories, and then we also have an arcade mode. So the side stories you kind of unlock as you complete the various stages in the game. Then we have an arcade mode, which is just kind of like fast-paced combat, and then we have the story, which is a bunch of different chapters and levels within those chapters, and you can get certain stars and goals on each of the levels. So this is from a bit of a mobile port, so you can get an idea of where certain concepts sort of move over to the game. But moving past that, this is actually a fairly solid sort of zombie endless runner. So with this being a zombie endless runner, you're moving around, auto-running, and taking shots at zombies. So the concept of it is actually kind of simple, but it does actually work quite effectively in regards to what they're actually hoping to present with this game. And it's not too bad, quite honestly. It sort of works. You fail there because you get killed. So this is just like the arcade mode, so you're just running through it, trying to complete different challenges. And as you can see, it can actually get kind of gruesome. So this is the campaign area after we did the quick run there. So as you're playing, this is the story mode. You're collecting gold, or you can get a bonus boost that you can use once. And then there's a variety of guns from which you can actually upgrade and enhance things. You see that in the collections menu, so you get the gold and you unlock new weapons, and then you can increase the level of your weapons too as you get access to them, and you get XP as you play and progress, and then you can also have companions that will help you around. You get to name your dogs too. That's why we've got El Barco and Sir Barks, and they give you little benefits for your battle. As you can see, you get selection of weapons that you kind of work towards and unlock, and we're going to start our run. So this is more of a structured run. You've got your dog pal if you get to that point. And then there's zombies, and then you're, shooting the zombies. You've got goals and targets that you're working towards with each level. You gotta be smart with your ammo too, though, but you do get occasional points where you do get to stock up, as you can see on the machine there. So I'd say this is definitely an alright sort of experience. You can feel the aspect of this definitely being a mobile title, but it kind of works fine on the Switch, quite honestly, especially when it is undocked. See, now one issue I have is with the sort of draw distance here. Now you actually, you see it pretty far. We've got the picture background and we've got the items, but you're noticing like the real pop in there in regards to basically the plants and everything like that. So we're doing pretty poorly right now. We're gonna try this one again, but yeah, you're seeing I get XP there, and then that carries forward to the next run. Great, so we're going again. This time, just kind of note when certain zombies kind of come into your actual field of view. It's a little bit annoying in regards to, you're trying to survive and deal with these zombies, and you're not getting much of a time gap for when they actually appear. And it seems to be more engine-based as opposed to an actual design in the game to make it more difficult on you. So that's just something to note visually. But I think the game does actually look pretty good, even on the big 4K screen. I mean, it's not like the prettiest thing, but the zombies do have a nice little sort of gory effect to them. Oh, this dog, he gives you, like spot out ammo for you and stuff, which is kind of helpful. But yeah, that's sort of what the game is. You're running through the field. This is the actual story, the narrative of the game, which actually is present. At the end of every run, you'll kind of hear like a story about, this lady you're talking to and her kid, and you're a part of this family. And you're basically just trying to get to them. You went a little bit too far on your last scouting mission, and that is the general theme and the narrative within this experience. Which actually is not a bad story. It's got voice acting to it, kind of compelling characters, but it is weird how it's not like built into the run. You're just kind of like, it's a side section thing for like 2 seconds at the end of each run. So it's just to give it like the bare minimum of a narrative. And then as you're seeing, there was like the specialty kind of things, the Ghostbusters and the Night of the Living Dead sort of extras that are present. It does actually have, I'd say, a fair bit of content to it, even though it is coming off of, being a mobile title. I think it actually works kind of well for what the Switch is. A lot of the console is more mobile-focused ports and stuff, which is fine, I actually kind of enjoy this. I don't mind it. I think it might be a bit simplistic for some, because I mean you are just kind of on rails and you're moving back and forth. But it's a neat idea, taking like the zombie concept and then making it into what I consider to be endless runner type of an experience. Even though it's more of like a set runner, you have goals you're working towards. But yeah, there's a fair bit of content in this. I've actually spent quite a fair bit of time playing it thus far, surprisingly. And there's just like a number of chapters, and then you've got the arcade that you can work through, and then you've got like the side missions too. Oh, here's the story part.
I think we're near that military base.
But we don't want to spoil too much, so we're going to skip it. So this is the loot area of the game, so after every round you get to pick, you want to boost. Remember, the boosts only last one run. They can be helpful because some of them are really hard, but I choose the gold because it's going to allow me to get new weapons and upgrade things. So here we go with another run in the story. Obviously we skipped ahead a little bit just so that you didn't see story-wise where things were going, because it is kind of cool to have a narrative that is not spoiled for games. Even though it's not like the most in-depth of narratives, it does, it's a story. Moving past that, you do actually get to visit a number of really neat locations in this. I'm constantly pleasantly surprised by where you're sent. There's one where you're like moving past a train. Here you're going through like an actual city. So it does feel like there is a bit of an actual storyline to where you're going in the game as well. So yeah, just generally a fairly respectable amount of spaces and locations that you can visit. You get some nice maneuvers for getting away from the zombies. Obviously you get the knife attack as you saw the first time in order to kind of defend yourself once. It's kind of like a get out of zombie death free card, well, if you can tap fast enough. But you get what I'm talking about. And the environments are also fairly well detailed. There's a lot of lumbering dead. There are certain upgrade things you might come across. There's a really cool chainsaw that you can kind of get. It's like a limited time weapon that you can find. And then we've got the grenades too, so those are like kind of a clear the screen type situation if you want to use them. And then you just kind of keep moving across dealing with the zombies. There's actually like a really large dimension to being able to move side to side. Like I can actually go pretty far, but I usually keep it more streamlined just because that seems to be the way that this was intended to be run through. Oh jeez, this is not good. So you got that. We actually do have to click to pick up the ammo too, so you're not just like running over it. And you gotta watch how close you are to the zombies because, aside from getting grappled, you actually won't be able to hit them with bullets because there is like a significant bullet drop if you're shooting too soon. So yeah, it's actually got like a fair bit of strategy to it. I'd say quite a lot of gameplay, a lot more than I was expecting, gameplay value-wise. And I think some people are gonna like that this is more, I suppose, like, this is not casual, but it's an easygoing sort of zombie game where it's like sort of more towards the realms of being a shooting gallery to a degree, because you are, just doing sort of a bare minimal interaction with it. But I gotta say, it's kind of a fairly solid environment that they provide. The core concept of gameplay works well. And yeah, it loads fairly well. It looks fine generally, and I think it's not a bad experience for this particular platform. It definitely fits into the sort of niche style quite well. I think it's particularly good if you're more on the go, but I also don't mind it, being blown up on the full screen, which is sometimes honestly an issue when I'm playing Switch games. So yeah, I think they've actually done an alright job in that regard. Being able to provide that respectable amount of content to it. I missed that shot. And they do some fun little neat side things, like with your little dog pal, or with the abilities you get on the screen, or where you have to go. And they actually tried to put in a narrative on this one, which is impressive to a degree. Yeah, I think it's alright. Worth checking out if you think this is an enticing sort of experience. You're certainly going to get some value out of it, and you can play it for a long time. Probably a pretty good one for if you're like kind of on the go and you're not really doing too much. You're like, I want something a little bit easier going that I can enjoy with zombies. This one sort of delivers that charm to it. And this is one of the sort of limited power weapons that you can get a hold of. And as you can see, it kind of just absolutely tears up the zombies, which is kind of cool and awesome. It's not as badass as the chainsaw, but it has its moments. Yeah, one thing I don't like is you kind of get like clipped along some objects because you're just like endlessly running along. This one's pretty intense with the zombie quantity. Definitely feel like I'm moving through a pretty harsh environment. And I'm not sure if I grabbed the ammo there. Yep, very dense. A lot of zombie action on this one. So, had fun with it. It's neat, something different. I wouldn't have expected this to even really be a thing prior to playing this, but I guess it was a mobile experience for a while there. Surprised I didn't hear about it, because usually I'm on top of this kind of stuff, but, you know, hard to keep up with everything, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of neat. Delivers on this premise well. Lots of zombies. Am I gonna make it? I made it! Let's go, doggo.